So if you just keep this vase empty, which is how your head is, if all you do is play entertainment director, that this vase, everything that's in it that is not rice, represents your vision, the blocks that you are putting in life that matter, the things that take up space in life, like the 20-year vision for your family. Who do you want you guys to be? What do you stand for? You understanding your authentic self. That is all the non-rice things in this jar. And right now it's empty. So it's wide open. So let's say this is the max amount of screen time that you would want your children to have. So I'm taking the glass with rice in it and I'm pouring it in the jar. And the way most of you guys operate, you're just sitting there fixating on your kids like, oh no, oh, I think that's too much rice in the jar. Stop. Oh no, is it too much? Stop. And that's how you guys operate. And so you flip out about how much rice is going in the jar and you spend all day, every day, making sure that this jar doesn't get more than a third of the way filled with rice. Oh, look, I'm not even spilling it on myself. This is incredible. All right, now let's start over. So now let's take this jar and let's start putting items in it. Not random at all. I put so much thought into this. This plastic container of holy water that I will put in the jar, this represents your worldview vision for your family. Like, what is the meaning of life? Why are any of us here? What happens in the afterlife? Your grandparents who passed on, like what happened to them? Kitty, who you buried in the backyard. Like, what is your worldview? What is life about? Why are we here? What is the purpose of it? And is there someone looking out for you? Is this a benevolent God? That sort of worldview thing is represented by the holy water in here, because that informs how you spend your time each day. Should you be praying? Should you be whatever? That's represented by this. The then we have an expired thing of salt. I didn't know salt could expire. Best by 2019.
That's really old.
How can salt expire? I mean, yeah, when must we have bought this? This thing of salt represents your salt is necessary for life, just like leadership is necessary in your family. This is definitely not anything I just threw together. Okay, so the salt represents your vision for yourself as a leader. It represents you bringing a leader mentality to each day, taking responsibility and boldly encountering each segment of the day and saying, you know what? I feel like scrolling TikTok for an hour because I'm a little bit maxed out. So I'm going to do it and I'm not going to whine about it and I'm not going to self-flagellate. Like, I'm just going to do it as a leader. So that's what the salt represents. This perfume sampler from Sephora, that represents the sweet smell. Here, I'll spray some of it. It represents the sweet smell of, smells amazing, doesn't it, Caitlin?
Delightful.
This is the sweet smell of you choosing activities for the kids that they really enjoy, but don't ruin your life. For example, you don't force a kid to go to violin lessons who obviously has no interest in this. You don't force a kid to play soccer who, to use an example from our own family, at one point late into the season, when things were getting crazy and everyone was crowded around the ball, this individual just jumped on it and started hugging it and just rolled around hugging the ball on the ground. If you have a kid that's like, I don't think this is going to be a lifelong sport for this kid, and it is really a pain to make it out to practice and to get up every Saturday morning. But on the other hand, there's this other activity that this kid really likes, and it's kind of a pain for me, but the kid really likes it. So the cost-benefit ratio is there. This is the sweet smell. I'm holding a perfume sampler. This is the sweet smell of you having a very intentional cost-benefit ratio for all of the activities that you have your kids in. This whiteout for paper, not random.
We're gonna white out our problem.
This whiteout. This symbolizes you this symbolizes you finding things to do with your children that you genuinely like, not the things that you feel like you should do, not the things that your friends do, things that you actually care about. So you're whiting out the drudgery of entertaining your children. Oh, I can't believe that came together.
I like that.
So, for example, everyone on Instagram is taking their kids for a nature walk and is baking with their kids. But you know that you will have a psychotic break if you try to do any of that. So you find something different, and it might be something totally different. Maybe you're into the theater and you take them to see an outdoor Shakespearean performance, and it's a little chaotic, but you actually like it because you like the theater. Maybe you're a movie buff, so you watch movies more often. And yeah, maybe some of the movies are a little on the line. They're not perfectly child friendly, but you're willing to make that trade-off because you're a cinema buff. And so you genuinely enjoy sharing this part of yourself with your kids. So in that goes in the glass jar. This eraser. Now I have a chalkboard eraser. This is the power of knowing yourself and giving your kids one of the greatest gifts you could ever give them, which is the gift of really knowing who their parent is. So many parents live their kids' entire childhoods playing a role with them. That for 18 years with this kid, the parents act like the person they think they're supposed to be with the kid rather than who they really are. So this eraser here that we spent 5 months perfectly planning the symbolism of, this erases the fake self. This erases the fraud parent who acts like you're into things you're not into. This erases the part of you that pretends you like listening to nursery rhymes in the car and you don't know what a joint is. We're erasing all of that, and you are giving your kids the gift of authentic interaction. And you know what that does? That gives you a lot of your own energy back. Because when you are pretending to be someone you're not with your children 24/7, it is exhausting and you run out of energy very quickly. And so we erase the fake self. We bring only our authentic selves to our children, and we put this in the jar. The 70 times we rehearsed this fit
out of the last 9
better.
months.
Here, wait. Look, if I take the white out, okay, I'll take out the white out. Okay, this perfume is giving me a headache. That's good. That's what we want. Okay, so now all of these things are in this jar. Now, again, I borrowed this analogy from someone else. Now look what happens. Now I take this rice back. So this is the screen time that you're worried about your kids not getting too much of. But look, because this jar is so full, okay, well, now this is going everywhere. All right, Caitlin, we have a mess to clean up. It did not occur to me that rice bounces. The original analogy of this is they use sand. And I was like, screw sand. I have rice handy. It's rice bounces. It didn't. This is getting everywhere in my studio. But you see, those of you, the 4 of you watching on YouTube, can say, okay, this is, oh my God. Do we have a handheld vacuum? Okay. So, but look, see now this rice, I don't have to personally monitor every grain of rice that is going into this jar, because there's just not that much room to fill it up with a lot more rice, because there's other stuff in there that is taking up space. And so you'll find when you are your authentic self, when you're with your family. And so let's say, and this works a little better, obviously, as your kids get older, but let's say you just start talking to your kids about, again, let's say you love movies, you love independent films, and there's some art house theaters nearby that have some, I don't know, French films, and not the weird ones, maybe some normal French films if they make that kind of thing. And so you start, let's say you're talking to your 8-year-old about it, and your 8-year-old becomes really interested, and you say, hey, well, let's go check out this new movie, and you take them down there. And yeah, that's not a normal thing to do with your kids. It's not what the people from the neighborhood are doing on Instagram. They're doing what they think they're supposed to be doing, which is making their brains melt, and is probably very boring to them, and is feeling a little stilted with their kids because the kids can tell this is not, it's not something that you're having an authentic interaction with. And so you find that screens kind of become a non-issue when you give yourself that space to be the leader version of yourself. And so you have that time to come up with a plan, be inspired by God to solve the things that really feel unsolvable in your life. You've got that space to figure out who you are and what you want out of life and what your interests are. And then you're bringing that authentic self to your children. And then as they get older, you're partnering with them. And of course, sometimes you do things that are kind of boring for you or not fun because that's what the kids are into. But you found a great balance of you're also sharing things with your kids that you're really into and that you find really exciting and give you a lot of energy. And the activities they are in, you feel really good about. They're not draining your energy because you're not forcing them into sports that they're not interested in. You're not forcing them into music stuff that they couldn't care less about. And you find that, you know, if let's say you have a day where your kids, they're on screens for 6 hours because you needed some time to kind of journal and plan things out and solve an issue and get some bills paid. You don't really worry about it because you're a leader. And now you've got a vision for your family and you know where your family is going. And you feel really good about it. And your kids are on board with that. And they're seeing you bring your authentic self and your leader self to this house every day. And so, yeah, if there are some days where they're kind of on screens all day because you're busy with other stuff, it doesn't feel bad because you know you'll get back on track. You know there are other things on the calendar that will be occupying their time. And you know that you're modeling for your kids a intentional life.